first, we wanted to get to some other news. The congressional hearings on the Benghazi terror attack underway next week, but without Secretary of State Hillary Clinton taking part in them. The State Department says Mrs. Clinton will not testify because she suffered a concussion following a fall. Still, the hearings will go on, and the House Foreign Affairs Committee chairwoman is making it clear that she wants Secretary of Clinton to testify at some point. The chairwoman of the committee joins me now, Republican Ros-Lehtinen of Florida. Good to see you, Congresswoman.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Very good. So at this point, we have two senior State Department officials set to testify in Secretary of Clinton's place. Do you think that they are sufficient proxies, or is it that only the Secretary of State can provide satisfying answers and only her?
Well, we certainly wish the Secretary a full and speedy recovery, but it's a deep disappointment not only to the members of our Foreign Affairs Committee, but more importantly to the American people, that she will not be there to answer for the terrorist attack in Benghazi, Libya, that resulted in the murder of 4 Americans, Stevens, Smith, Woods, and Doherty. These are brave Americans who are serving our nation, and an attack on our consulate, attack on our embassy is an attack on America. So in their stead, as you pointed out, we will have 2 of her deputies, Bill Burns and Tom Nides, and they will provide a report on the accountability review that went on about how to prevent a future Benghazi. They are not a substitute for the Secretary, so we have asked her to make herself available to our committee at a later time once she recovers. Now, the day before our open hearing, we will also be hearing from the 2 gentlemen who were in charge of this review. That's Ambassador Tom Pickering and also Admiral Mullen. And they will provide this in a classified setting because, unfortunately, the report will not be made public. Parts of it will, but not the whole of the report due to security concerns. And that's been the problem with the administration thus far, is that they wanted to have all of the hearings and all of the briefings in a secured setting. But the American people want to know what the State Department and all of our agencies are doing to keep our diplomats safe. We all deserve an open answer in a transparent setting.
2 questions now I have for you. Is it possible, though, for you and your colleagues to hear and collect all the information at these hearings, take it, digest it, and then properly inform the American people so that in the event of that raw testimony, if you will, that some secrets are not divulged? Is that possible, though, so the American people feel that they won't be cheated in the end?
Well, that's an excellent question. And remember, this is American taxpayer dollars at work. They're the ones who are funding these operations, not just the consulate and the embassies, but also the security that goes on in every one of our islands of democracies, as I call them, overseas. And we want to make sure that the American taxpayer dollars are being used wisely. And because of this terrorist attack, it does not mean that we need to spend more money. We need to spend the money we have in a better way. After all, remember in Benghazi, the reports that we have heard are that there were calls and there were very clear requests for added security, and those requests were not heeded. And I know that Congress would have fully funded any of these security requests. So we want to use taxpayer dollars wisely. We don't want to give out divulge classified information.
Pardon me here, because I'm short on time. I want to get a couple more points in here, and I know that those are the points that you want to have answered for sure. And I know that you're very adamant about hearing from Secretary of State Clinton. Have you heard any information from her office as to when she might be able to talk to before the hearings there at some point, special hearings? I'm not sure. How does that work once she is recovered? How does that work? How do you get her to testify?
Well, we have made it very clear to her office that we do expect her to testify. She has every expectation that she will be testifying. But unfortunately, as you know, she has already stated that she will be stepping down. There are pretty good reports that Senator Kerry, who is now heading the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, will be taking her spot. And I fear that because of the shuffle that is going on, we may not be able to hear from Secretary Clinton on the Benghazi terrorist attack, and we will be a poorer nation for it.
And so there is no way that if in fact Secretary Clinton steps down and a new Secretary of State is in place, you're telling me that after that there's no way to call Mrs. Clinton back to testify?
Well, we hope that she will fulfill her desire to come before our committee. We hope that that will happen. They have not shut the door on that. But I know that, as Robert Frost says, as way leads on to way, who knows what will happen. We have every expectation that she will. That is our very strict request, and we hope that she makes good on it.
If I'm going to pin you into a corner here with just 20 seconds on this one, is there any way to ensure, please, okay, thank you. Is there any way to ensure, Congresswoman, that these hearings will not be politicized? Because if you really want the American people to get the real answers, we have to try to keep politics out of it.
Well, it's very hard to keep politics out of anything that we do in Congress. But what we're talking about is a terrorist attack where 4 Americans lost their lives, even though they requested more security and more help. We want to know what went wrong and to prevent another Benghazi. American lives are at stake. All over the world, we are targets. We want to make sure that another Benghazi is not going to happen, and the only way to do that is to examine what happened with this one.
Indeed. Congresswoman Ros-Lehtinen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.